So starting our first tectonic explorer, you can go ahead and open up this continental drift PowerPoint and get a list of the 4 pieces of evidence. So you're going to get an A, B, C, and D evidence for continental drift, and also why this theory was not fully accepted at the time. So use that PowerPoint to answer those questions. And then you can go ahead and read through this paragraph. You got 3 questions you're thinking about to gather information as you read through that short statement there. And here's where I'm really going to help you out today with this map part. So there's 3 maps. You should have been assigned 1 during your class period. And when you look at that map, you're going to be investigating it for types of crust, earthquake activity, topography, which is looking at elevation of the Earth's surface. So you're going to be looking at like high points and low points, so mountains, valleys. You'll also see volcanoes, and then try to pull it all together about maybe what is happening here. And this is a hard question, but we got to start somewhere. Okay, so once you have your map assigned, go ahead and put it into Notability so you can do what I'm doing here and look at your map and your activity at the same time. So for the first question, locate your plate boundary, we want to know what types of crust are present here. And so that's seen, I think, in either one of these 2 maps. So you can tell the gray is the land and the white is the ocean, just like we can see here. Ocean is blue and land is green. So for this particular map, we would say both, right? We have some ocean crust and some continental crust on either side of the plate boundary. This is really our focus, this red line. And so all of our data is going to be centered around where is it relative to that line. So we need to put that line on every single map. So we're just going to grab a color up here. Maybe you want to just stick with red and make it a little darker. And the first thing we want to do is trace this boundary line. Okay, and yours might look a little different. That's okay, depending on your map. But when you trace it, you want to make sure you go to at least one corner because we got to line it up somewhere. Okay, so trace your boundary line, go to one corner, and then you're going to grab this lasso tool. I like to have it set on the square mode. Everyone's a little different. But you grab that and copy it. And when you then go to paste, if you just hit paste, you're going to get just what you drew in, and that's the boundary line. And the nice thing about this is we don't have to resize it. We can just line it right up to that corner. Maybe. Okay, and now I have my line there ready to go. So when I'm looking at earthquakes, I can tell where are they relative to that line. So I want to put that boundary on every single one of my maps. Okay, so looking at the first question, we're investigating earthquakes. What is their depth and their location relative to the boundary? So the first one here, we want to say, where are they? We want to use those terms. On the boundary, off the boundary. So again, this is the boundary line. That red line we put in. Do I notice earthquakes on the boundary? Are they touching that red line? Well, the answer is yes, right? We do have earthquakes on the boundary line. And if we look at those, we should be able to tell, well, what, they're mostly what color, and what does that color represent? So on boundary, mostly the shallow, right? But I also see them off the boundary, further away from the line, and then I want to record what those depths are. So on the boundary, and I would record some of the depths, and off the boundary and record some of the depths. And make any other observations about where I notice them. Are they on both sides? Is it symmetrical? Just the one? As many details as I can. Maybe even make some notes on my map. Okay, my next one here is topography. So put my boundary on. Okay, again, this is showing elevation. So where do I notice my high points and my low points? Well, this 0 here is sea level. That's the ocean level. So anything green and yellow and white, that's land, and anything blue and purple, that's the ocean. Okay, so this is like shallow ocean, deep ocean, and then here this is low land and high land. Okay, so you're just looking through. On the boundary, what do we notice? Off the boundary, what do we notice? Is it just one side, both sides? Describe it out. And then see if you can maybe name some of the stuff you're looking at. And then the last map here is volcanoes. Okay, so again, same kind of thing as the earthquakes. On or off the boundary, one side, both sides, just the land, just the water. What is it? More details, the better. And the last question, number 8, we're just thinking about all of it together and predict, are these plates moving towards each other, away, or going past? And something about your data you just collected, earthquakes, volcanoes, topography, maybe something about your data you can use to explain your thinking, okay? And I'm not looking for correct or incorrect here. I'm looking for ideas. What stood out to you? What made you think in that direction?